when the facts get twisted and the lies stack tall, my red, white, and blue heart starts with answering the call. Question everything. Don't swallow the lies they try to sell. 'Cause sometimes logic fails and it drags this nation straight to hell. Conspiracy analysts digging for the truth they try to hide. We the people stand together with our hands on hearts and full of pride. This is my home, my blood, my heritage, my sacred ground. My country's not for sale, and we'll never back down.
What is up, folks? How is everybody doing this morning? Always good to see y'all guys. Y'all know I tell you every single day. Good to see y'all piling up here in the chat. Maybe we'll end up with a big crowd today. We had a good enough sized crowd yesterday. I had all my, I'm not gonna say favorites, but I had my OGs. All my OGs were in the chat, just about all of them. But now one of the big OGs, Miss Susan, she wasn't there, and so I just sent her a text message. Hopefully maybe Miss Debbie also did that, so hopefully she'll be popping in here soon. All right, let's see, who do we have with us? Of course, as always, Miss Debbie Smith is in the house, and I saw you making fun of the way I talk, Miss Debbie. Just saying, I saw that. So I'm not gonna take any offense to it this time, you know, but now next time. Hey, a lot of people love the way I talk, Miss Debbie Smith. I don't know how I'm supposed to be practicing it. I don't know that I could say it any different, Miss Debbie. Anyway, all right, let's see. All right, we got Keza in the house. Good morning, Keza. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever that ends up translating to. I can't even hardly keep up with what time of day it is here, much less other places. All right, let's see. Oh, we got Sleeping Beauty. Good morning, Sleeping Beauty. How you doing? Awesome to see you here. Got the Adams Acre in here. So we know we got at least two Adams in the house. Good morning, Adams Acre. Yes, and I agree with you 100%. I wish I wasn't working either. I got to go do my real job when I get done here, which always sucks. All right, let's see who else we got. Let's see. Reginator. Good morning, Reginator. And yes, you are a real one also, you know. Let's see who else we got. Dutch Silver in the house. How are you doing, Dutch Silver? Good to see you. Good afternoon. See, I got it right that time. 135 in the house. Good morning, 135. Rick, good morning, good evening. Y'all keep me confused, but I love our international brothers and sisters. Let's see who else we got in here. Is Greg going to be in the house? Not today, but we are doing something here in a couple days. It's always beer o'clock in Australia. That's some good stuff. All right, let's see. Who else we got? We got anybody else? Or do we need to just die? Whoop, Heather P. What is up, Heather P? Good morning. Good to see you in here bright and early. Always a pleasure. Let's see who else we got. I always love when they start sneaking in at the end. They just keep me from getting to the bottom of the list. Let's see. Brett Booth in the house. Good morning, Brett. Brett is the man. If I've never told y'all that before. You wake up on time and no Adam. Hey, I was just a few minutes late. It's a long story. Look, I got my battery thing, okay? I was all excited. No more batteries going dead. Now I can just rock and roll till it's over. And I got it. And I went back and I double, triple, like quadruple checked. It said plainly, works for a Canon Rebel T7, and I got it, and it only had 3 of those little gold contacts. Mine needs 4, so they lied, and that shit's going back. So still not fixed. So yeah, I was messing with that this morning, trying to get it to work before I realized that it wasn't even right. Anyway, good morning, Brett. Good to see you. All right, let's see who else we got. Who else we got? I think that might be it. Oh, thank you for the gifted membership, Keza. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We have got to be somewhere in the 150 range, guys. Um, Absolutely amazing. Who the fuck is Cindy? I have no idea what we're talking about here. I guess that conversation was not for me. Nosy Google in the house. How you doing this morning, Miss Kim? Good to see you. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Let's see. Karen Floyd. Good morning, Karen Floyd. Good to see you back in today. And let's see. I think I got to the bottom. I know there'll be more that pile in, but you know what? It's all right. We'll get going, and they'll come as they'll come on in a few at a time. All right, let's see here. Let me check, make sure everything's good. Oh, by the way, since I've had so much bullshit lately, do I sound good? All right. Yesterday I seemed to be sounding pretty good. I did want to double check. You know, not ever had so many sound problems as I've had recently, which honestly really ain't that even that many. But anyway, I think I sound good. Y'all tell me if y'all disagree. Oh, look at there, look at there, look at there. Thank you, Miss Debbie. Thank you so much for the super chat. Big $5. So nice of you to do that. Thank you so much. Very generous, very generous. Let's see. Yeah, we might ought to transition a little bit from memberships maybe to supers. I'm going to end up with 200 members, and I hope to God that most of them want to be members. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, these people are so generous. They're just buying memberships left and right. Well, I sure do hope these people appreciate it and actually keep the memberships. Either way, though, it's amazing, and y'all are so generous, and I love y'all for it. So it is, it's something else. Y'all are, y'all are amazing. Y'all are the reason why I'm here doing this for sure. I would not be here doing this any other way. I can guarantee you that. All right, so let me get that off of there. So this is a little bit of an X Spaces. We're going to kind of run through. Um, some people have put some of this on YouTube. There's been a few people that have kind of covered it, but this is Blake Neff, and guess who hosted? Mr. Gary Melton, Paramount, non-factual or non-tactical or however you want to call him. Gary was hosting it, and so Mr. Blake Neff was in there taking questions from people, and got some very interesting responses and very interesting answers. Less answers than responses, but a little of both. So yeah, figured we'd go through, listen to some of it. We may do some skipping around. I'll try to make that as smooth as possible, but it's worth hearing. And then, of course, we will also, no false advertising here. We're gonna listen to a little bit of Candace when we get on towards the end. Okay, guys. So all that being said, and it may take me a minute to figure out where I need to be. I can't remember if starting it off from the very beginning is where it needs to be or not, but we will soon see, guys. Without further ado, here's our favorite Poindexter and our favorite lumberjack, Mr. Gary Melton hosting and Blake Neff making an ass out of himself. Only thing that sucks about spaces, you can't see the people making an ass out of themselves. Just saying.
And then if you want to talk again, send up another request. We'll try to cycle everybody through. Trillian, go ahead.
Hey, Blake, thanks for doing this. For the record, I don't think Erica Kirk had anything to do with Charlie's assassination. I do have a question for you. So recently, it was in fact Gary's podcast with Jeremy Boring. Jeremy Boring lays out the argument that he would have never put Ben Shapiro in that chair, meaning that the security setup, even for not a security expert, was obviously not acceptable, the threat risk, especially for who Charlie was, future president of the United States, as Michael Knowles claims. I'm wondering if you could tell us anything about the site. So
I don't think I read your chat, Miss Debbie. I kind of went off on a side road. Anyway, love this chat so much, and out of love chords. Look at there. That is awesome. Thank you again, Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie Smith. I don't know how you want me to say it. Smith. Am I saying it any different? I don't know.
Election specifically at UVU that day. We've had some claims made that UVU offered multiple venues, one being inside, one being a different courtyard, and one being the UVU fountain courtyard. Is there anything you can tell us about why that spot was specifically chosen? Considering that even Jeremy Boring says that he would have never put Ben Shapiro in that seat.
I was not involved in the selection of the site or any discussions about it. What I can say secondhand from speaking to people who were involved is they have said Charlie himself really specifically liked that site at UVU. He liked the idea of an amphitheater, that when you pan the camera across it, it's going to...
Guys, I can't remember where Gary said he's originally from. I thought he was from up north somewhere, but now he lives in Virginia. So he's a DCer, in that line of work, you got to be over there by the swamp. So, he's kind of a swamp creature. Only person I know that lives over there that ain't a swamp creature would be Miss Susan. And hopefully Miss Susan will show up here in a little bit. What's he mean? All right. Be more specific, 135. What part are you asking about?
Be filled with thousands of people, and it will look like even more. An amphitheater that sort of environment is perfect for making the crowd look as dramatic and big and impressive as possible. And Charlie was a guy who thought...
That's right. I'm sorry. Not Virginia. West Virginia. See? Keep me honest. Keep me honest there, Brett Booth.
About that. I think one of my favorite examples, I think it was what Charlie said about indoor.
Jordan thinks it is 100% Hollywood production, that Charlie Kirk is not dead, and that they put some kind of fake, something on his neck and like a squib or something, and that there was, they used CO2 or something like that. Instead of an explosion, it blew the cross pendant up and hit a spot on his neck, which was a squib instead of his actual neck, that busted it to make him look like he bleed and fake his death. That is a really, really condensed version. And, not a huge Jordan fan. Teach their own, though.
That's like...
Lisset, what's up, Lisset? And Sharice, good morning, good morning. Good to see y'all sneaking in here. We just getting started.
He would say, I think, go wide, not deep, is the line he would say. Because if you have a room and it's full and you're panning the camera across and you just keep having more and more people as you go, it's going to make the room look like way more people are in it than the same number of people stretched backward vertically. Then the room is going to look emptier and smaller.
I think his whole point was just since Ben Shapiro, kind of works for him, and I guess, Jeremy did until they parted ways. I guess what he was trying to say is since Ben worked for him, and I'm assuming Jeremy would get the last say on certain things, maybe that would be one of those things, that if he went out there and looked around at the place, that he would consider it unsafe and therefore would not let Ben do the event. Pretty sure that was what he meant.
That's the sort of stuff Charlie talked about, thought about.
And yes, please.
And so,
but was Charlie told that, for instance, is a open carry campus?
Me neither, Reginator.
Okay. A lot of states are open. A lot of states have open carry in the United States.
It's just that it's
Oh, and shout out to sorry about that. I meant to do that right from the get-go. Shout out to Allie and Chris for bringing this for us. They're actually the ones that took the space off of X, and they did it. They put it out on YouTube. I think this was last night, so I apologize, Miss Allie. Meant to do that right from the get-go. We are listening to Allie's stream. Again, shout out Miss Allie, and hope to see you Friday. Should be on with Allie Friday. It's gonna be let's see. Who all's gonna be there? Mr. Don, which it's his show, and then Steve Cameron, and which Steve Cameron is really good. I've covered Steve Cameron before. Be Steve Cameron. It'll be Greg. It'll be myself, and the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Bray. So, anyway, that'll be it. I guess John Bray's my date. I asked him, I was like, "Hey, can you come to a chat or come to a little conversation with me, John?" All right, here we go. Fire in a hole.
seems like optics, things that are good for the camera, overrode like the actual security threat and what we're told.
I'm sorry, I'll quit pausing it. I just want to. So, not recently that I know of, but Ben Shapiro actually made that type of event famous. Really, I hate to say that is how I started paying attention to conservative politics back in the day, and I'm so ashamed of this. But I used to listen to him, all the Zionist assholes that now we all realize are just Zionist assholes that want to put our country, second or even worse than that, further down the list. But yes, you see video clips all the time. Facebook would be full of these video clips of him arguing with college kids. Generally, they were indoors. I don't know how many times I ever saw him outdoors, but yes, he did that type of event a lot. He's actually the one, between him and like Steven Crowder, they made these types of things famous. They were doing it before Charlie was, to my knowledge.
Is that the UVU campus actually specifically told their team that this area would be almost impossible to secure. So you would think that you would go above and beyond to secure the venue, such as maybe with drones or putting more people on roofs, or just none of that was a concern.
My understanding is Charlie really personally liked the amphitheater environment because it would allow a ton of people to be there. It would be an incredibly impressive visual, something he cared about.
Good morning, Tori.
It would look great, and it would feel great, and it would be a great event. And he thought about things like that. That's why he liked doing more big outdoor events. He evolved in that direction over time because it allowed more people to be at them. And like I said, I wasn't in the meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if someone said there will be more security risks with this. And he said, I'll take that because I want to reach the most people and put on the biggest and best events. But as I said,
do you know, last question, do you know who specifically went to the campus to scope it?
When that decision was made, so I am speaking secondhand, but I repeatedly heard people say that Charlie was very excited specifically about that amphitheater.
So everything that Blake says is at least secondhand, if not third, fourth, fifth, 20th hand. He doesn't know anything. If it's not something that he got secondhand, that he's just kind of relaying, through some other medium. If it's not that, then it's, I don't recall. I can't remember. Why would I remember that? Why would I recall that? How should I know? Why should I remember? Everything.
I'm just wondering, so you said you're hearing it secondhand. Would you name who specifically went scouted that location and who you heard that secondhand information from?
No,
was it Dan or was it someone else? Was it Elizabeth?
Scouted the location, and no, I don't recall who specifically told me this. I just recall that I have been told this.
All right. Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, Trillian. All right, we're going to have CJ Correnti, and there will be Jack Tron, Lisa Knows, Nish Perez, and even Project Constitution and Z. We'll keep it that order. Try to keep your comments or your questions short.
Miss Debbie, I'm not opposed to it. Shauna had said something about it. I told her to send me an email. Hadn't heard from her yet, but yeah, Henderson can shoot me an email. We'll do something on some of those crazy streams. I mean, 3 or 4 mods won't be a bad thing. So I am 100% open to it. So, yep. If I think about it, I'll say something when I see Henderson in the chat. Or yeah, you can do the same, Miss Debbie.
We'll wait to see what Project Constitution says.
In all caps.
Hey, Trans, I actually have a question for you because I was in your space earlier, and you were talking about Gary on Jeremy's show, how he saw the live broadcast. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of Gary here, but there was a live broadcast going on.
This is for me.
No, this is actually for Trillions. I'm asking him.
Did CJ just cut out?
Can you hear me?
Or is it me?
No, I hear him. He's asking a question about the live stream. But did you finish the question or not yet?
No.
Guys, I think we'll buzz through this. There was obviously no answer to this, and we'll get through this and get on to something else. Little bit more exciting. That would be very exciting if we indeed got an answer, but of course we get no answer to that.
I haven't finished yet.
How did Gary get confused by that?
I just see a live stream, and I think Adam.
On a stack of Bibles, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you, if it wasn't live, then it would. Also, I look forward to seeing that. Mid-Gray, also, I posted that down in the comments.
Mid-Gray is you.
Analysis
You are Mid-Gray.
Anything else, CJ? Is that good?
No, that's it.
Jack Tron, go ahead.
All right, thank you for having me up. So, 2 things. One, I want to say that something that Candace put out recently was this photo of Tyler Robinson at a Dairy Queen. And this was something that was pointed out to me recently, that in that photo, he is wearing a white logo Hurley hat. And the significant thing about this is not only is the suspected shooter in the video wearing that maroon shirt as Tyler, but also wearing that same hat. The same hat that he is, as I said, not just on the campus, but at the Dairy Queen, and the following night when he turned himself into the police. So based on that, the evidence that this is the only real evidence that I have actually seen that has meant anything. And it makes her claims look even more absurd because it makes Robinson look even more guilty. So that just goes to my thinking. Like, I do not think that Candace is actually a very intelligent human being. Keep in mind, she recently said that she only just found out that lightning causes thunder and said that July 4th, 1776 was the Boston Tea Party.
She didn't know what temperature ice water freezes either, so there's that whole thing.
That is not true.
Yeah, not only that, she also thinks dinosaurs are fake.
There we go.
Oh, that I do agree
I don't
with.
know.
Me too.
We'll have to cover that one
This
day.
is not, I agree with her
See,
assessment,
Allie
but the
agrees.
fact is, I think most of what she's stating she knows to be false, but she knows that her gullible followers will believe it, will propagate it, her downstreamers will perpetuate it, and kind of that's where we're at. The eclectic journalist, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Send it.
Okay, I just
Miss you
wanted
next.
to tell Blake something. Can you hear me, Blake?
Yeah.
Blake? Okay. So I have a YouTube channel, and I did a 14-part series on Candace, going all the way back to where before she started as a conservative, firebrand. But during that series, I was given information that seems to line up very well with the fact that she was pulling the clips that she used for that. Please be quiet. That she used for that newspaper, the clipping she used of Eric's family, she was pulling those as far back as September 28th was one of the earliest ones. And there was an account that this whoever was clipping these papers, newspaper clippings from like the old sites and stuff where you get that, they had an account and we could see what else they were clipping, and it all kind of corresponded with her show. And so I put that in one of my...
So just to make sure I'm following this, basically it's suggesting that the really intrusive investigation into like Erica's life started...
Okay, we're getting on past this one too. I'm not into the whole digging and, trying to make Candace look bad. This is about questions.
like, turning point chapters and things like that with lies.
Oh God, this was another dumb one. Jesus. People arguing over...
Making yourself look like a complete idiot. Yeah, and
You actually go to the source and they give you updated.
Yeah, arguing about how Turning Point chapters work. It was dumb. I
Candace
promise
said
there's better.
Go release it. You should go nag her. I don't have any idea what she has. I don't send things to Candace.
She asked you directly.
Okay, here we go. I think this one might be one we want to listen to.
You need to
No, that's not what we asked, Blake. No, what we asked for is we want the section that you guys released,
Oh yeah.
and with the whole, you released it with a whole bunch of edited things and music behind it, and
Just for just for a little bit of just so you know what we're talking about here, what he's talking about. He is asking about the video that of Charlie appointing Erica as CEO.
we just want the raw, unedited section, just that same section. We're not asking for the whole video.
Give it to you.
We want that unedited section.
Erica is like Maverick from Top Gun today. Like, why are we getting
God.
I'm asking you serious questions, and my investigation, everything I've done, has been in search of the truth. You're the only one that you guys have been the only ones that have
already released the video, and exactly as anticipated.
But you haven't. And Candace said, okay, so
we could read.
Can you just say?
You'd say that was fake too.
Well, you said Candace has the video. You said she can release it. So you're telling me you guys will not copyright strike her.
That's the whole video. So I said, why don't you go nag her?
She does say. She does say she had that.
Go release it. You should go nag her. I don't have any idea what she has. I don't send things to Candace.
She asked you directly whether she has your guys' permission, whether TPUSA will give her permission to release the video.
I don't work for TPUSA, and since when has Candace gotten?
Well, you know people that do.
Who the fuck does Blake work for then?
Who's he work for?
Erica told her to stop, so Erica said, "Please stop," and she said, "Actually, I was just kidding."
See, they're all about semantics, Oh, I don't even work for Turning Point. Technically, yes, everybody works for Turning Point. Now, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, yes, you may be a part of some particular little sub-organization or whatever, but yes, they all work for Turning Point, and he knows that.
About that. So, like, what
about the
suddenly this like honest actor who's just like,
all right, so we're not going to come to any resolution on that. That's just like TPUSA has stated their position on this multiple times. Like, I would rather keep it to the preliminary hearing. What has been said, what new has come out. If you got anything on that, drop it in the next 15 seconds.
Okay, I got one more question. What about the audio from the Rode microphone that Charlie?
Good boy.
Can we get that?
What does that have to do with anything?
Everything, you brain dead
stupid
retard.
idiot.
What about that? What does that have to do with anything? Like, come on, dude. And I don't understand how, like, he can't be that dumb, So that just goes to show you how what his intentions are. And they are definitely not to help anybody learn anything of any value.
Has to do with everything. That if that shows that there isn't an explosion, then more people would believe your 30-06 story.
Colin, what proves there was no explosion is that there was no explosion. Nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything. And so, like,
there's pictures of the explosion.
No, there's one frame of motion blur. I already explained this earlier. This is simple.
Motion blur.
Hold on.
Who cares about bruises? Where the receiver was.
Hold on. Listen, Colin. I'll let you respond afterwards. But listen.
I was at the shooting. I was 20 feet away. I heard a crack. The crack was in front of me in the direction of the crowd. It was not in the direction of Charlie. That is why when the shot happens, you can actually see in video of me, I look up first rather than jerking my head up to the right, which is what I would do if I heard an explosion right next to me. Instead, I heard a crack out from the direction of the audience because there was a rifle shot from that direction.
Then show us the Rode mic.
I agree. I'm not disputing that. I do think there was a rifle shot as well.
Okay, so here's the proof there was no explosions, Colin. If you guys are saying that it was Pettin, all right, Pettin burns around 4,000 degrees centigrade. That's literally hotter than the surface of the sun. You're telling me that there was no burn marks, no nothing. There wasn't any smoke or anything.
No, there was burn marks. That's what I'm saying. I've shown them on my channel.
Do you know what the burn marks from a 4,000 degree explosion would look like? And you're telling me that there was burn marks on Charlie, but somehow there was no burn marks on the shirt itself that is so thin that you can almost see through it.
Go compare it to the injuries from the pager attack.
I have. And you still have omnidirectional explosion.
So very similar.
It is nothing like that. You see parts of their clothing and everything else go flying through the air. It's not even close to that. Like, you guys are delusional if you think that this physics-defying nonsense. And I love it. Look, I love it. I love that you guys. I love that Candace. Hold on, shut up. I love that you guys are pushing this, and I hope you stick with it.
Shut up. Wow.
I thought it was you, but I'll tell you.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, you're saying, you think there was a rifle shot. So they took a guy and they walked him up onto a roof with a rifle and had him aim in the direction of Charlie and sync up, pulling the trigger at the exact same moment as this, like, hypothetical exploding neck microphone. Like, at that point, why wouldn't the conspiracy just involve shooting him? Like, what's the value add of throwing in this exploding neck microphone? Like, I don't mean to be like cruel here.
Yeah, you do.
To cause
Yeah, you
chaos,
do.
to
Yeah, you
muddy
do.
up the works, to make people wonder, to cause exactly what's going on now with so many theories of what actually happened. They want
like a bad TV show, like, and they did it this way to sow confusion and fear. That's like a line that George Lucas would write in the Star Wars prequels. All of the evidence points towards, unfortunately, Charlie being killed by a rifle shot from distance.
Yeah, that's not true. But also, if you'll remember, we heard it yesterday. According to all of his buddies that were in the courtroom, they saw super high definition up close where they could see every single detail. They could literally see his muscles tense, and they could see his finger actually start moving to pull the trigger back. They could see the recoil. They could see all of it. They could see the bullet flying. Yeah, all the evidence does not point in that direction at all.
Because that matches what happened.
Then show us the mic.
The sound people heard. It matches the fact that we have video of a guy climbing onto the roof. It matches spent rifle cartridge being found. It matches the rifle itself being found. It matches that a third.
It does. The problem with everything matching like that, with the theory that Tyler is a patsy, makes perfect sense that all that stuff would match. They take if you took somebody's rifle, I mean, one could expect there to be some DNA on it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think so.
The odd 6 bullet was taken out of Charlie's body. All of the.
Well, actually, it wasn't, because did you hear Candace released today?
Yeah, we don't know about that either. So we've already talked about that. Come on, there's some better. Let me get on down the road some.
Road mic.
I have pictures of it. I've shared pictures of it on my channel.
The road mic itself is actually the transmitter, is what it is.
For the Pizzagate conspiracy that ruined a lot of people's lives, including the deep state. You guys all.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm not necessarily in agreement completely with her.
But the C3, C2, somewhere around there, which is directly in line with the back of his necklace. It has rapid acceleration of the back of the necklace, very short, but very violent. That causes the pendant to go up. It causes all of the shirt movement. Like, the explanation is pretty easy. It's not that difficult. You guys are making it into some sci-fi nonsense that doesn't even make sense. All right, we're going to land you right there.
Yeah, the problem with all that is all that stuff takes place before there's a wound, Gary. Explain that. Explain that. How did all that happen before there was a wound? If the wound or the facilitation of said wound is what causes all of that other stuff to happen, would you not expect the wound to be there before any of that other stuff happens? Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I would expect. But in this case, all of that shit happened and then a wound appears. Ass backwards.
Going to bring up.
Can I ask one more question?
No, you can.
No.
Everybody goes. I want to get everybody through.
Everybody said no at once. No.
So, in a minute, you can come back up.
Okay, thanks for having me. Blake, so I've got 2 quick questions for you. The first one is that, Turning Point USA, you guys have been spreading conspiracies for a long time. You guys spread misinformation about COVID and the vaccines. You were with Jack Posobiec, who's famous for the Pizzagate conspiracy that ruined a lot of people's lives, including the deep state. You guys also spread probably the most harmful one, which was that the 2020 election was rigged, which, by the way, resulted in you guys paying for buses that went to Washington, D.C., which left multiple cops.
How does this tie into the problem?
Well, because I want it is fast tied to the problem. Let me land my plane here. So hold on. Can I just finish what I'm going to say?
No, not
No. Let me finish what I'm going to say. It also resulted in police officers that got brutalized. It also resulted in the doxing of election.
She is exaggerating like beyond comprehension. I do not agree with what all she's saying here, but she does finally land the plane and makes a point here.
Okay. And so.
Nonsense?
Hold on, can I finish my question, please? I've been respectful waiting. I just want to finish my question and get.
The question.
Okay. So, which again resulted in election workers being doxxed, which you were just complaining about yourself. So my question to you is, why should we care about Candace Owens spreading conspiracies about you when you and Turning Point USA have been spreading conspiracies and doxing average?
Right,
they cut her off.
Oh, they didn't even let her land her plane.
Oh,
what about that?
Liberal about what actually happened on January 6th.
What about that?
One of the things that I was going to ask her before I kicked her out was, is she which she is. I already know the answer to that.
Look, what about that shit?
Z is totally tied to the leftist.
Yep. They wouldn't let her finish her. They wouldn't even let her land her plane.
Democrat organizations that have always been trying to destroy TPUSA, like, stick to the prompt. It's really simple.
Stick to the prompt. Ain't that the truth? They do. That's one thing they do well is stick to that prompt.
Candace Owens has spent a sustained 10 months making effectively every episode of her show, finding some new way to target.
The list was too long. I just had a question regarding some stuff that you said there. I'm not sure if it's clear to me, but did you say you were interviewed by the feds or the authorities, or you weren't related to?
This is
like,
interesting.
did you have any communications with them regarding the assassination? Blake, are you able to hear me?
Sorry, I was muted there. I have not been formally interviewed by the FBI.
Okay, so no communications whatsoever.
I didn't say no communications whatsoever. I said I've never been like interviewed by the FBI, like as part of their, as part of like I don't think I've ever given them like a witness testimony or something.
Okay, and in the same space, you also said that Charlie Kirk had told you that he feared for his life from like a transgender or trans. Did he communicate that to you verbally or through some text?
It was via text. Sorry. It was.
What's up, Sarah? And you damn right. Hey, do you have 28 friends? Does everybody in the chat have 28 friends between y'all? Come on, guys. Get some people to subscribe. Guys, whoever's watching, I seen a number that was just heartbreaking the other day. I was looking at my analytics, and do you know that only about 30% of everybody that watches is subscribed? That's a sad fact. So to any of y'all out there that are listening to this now that aren't subscribed or will hear this in the future, please subscribe. Then you can listen to it more. You'll always know when I go live. You'll always know when another one drops. Come on, guys, please hit that sub button. Come on. It don't cost you anything. Appreciate it.
It was verbally, as I recall.
And did you ever like share that with the authorities? Did you think that would be useful to share in light of the fact that she had shared that concern?
No, and he wasn't speaking when he said that. When I remember I mentioned it many times that he said this, but it wasn't mentioned like, oh, I got a specific threat from like a tranny and that has filled me with fear. I think he was speaking to like, there have been numerous shootings over the past few years by.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to kill me isn't anything specific. He just means he thinks that some random tranny is gonna, maybe, possibly, allegedly, perhaps in the future, try to do something to me. I think they're going to kill me. That's all that means. Like I said, no specifics there. Come on, bald-headed fuck, I tell you what.
Transgender individuals. There was that one at the Covenant School in 2023. There was one in Canada literally only a few days before Charlie was shot, I recall. So I think he was thinking of that when he mentioned it.
Yeah, exactly.
But Charlie was aware that a lot of people hated him, and sometimes he made reference to that.
Yes, he says several times, why would they interview me? Why would I be a person of interest? Why would I be somebody they would want to talk to? Because you were at his side in the time leading up to and at the time where his life was taken. You have intimate knowledge of things that have gone on in his life, conversations that have been had. And again, you were standing 10 feet away from him when he was killed. That's why. And in any other real investigation, you would be one of the first persons to get talked to. Now, would you end up being a person of interest? Who knows? If I was the one running the investigation, allegedly, maybe, possibly, perhaps, yeah, you might be. But there's no, he didn't ask why you weren't a person of interest. He asked why you were not talked to. And to me, that is a travesty. That is not an investigation. That's a cover-up.
I know sometimes he got serious threats that he did like send to the police. That was not stuff I was involved in, but I know it happened. And sometimes he said stuff like, oh yeah, like, these transgender lunatics might try to kill me.
Yeah, it's seeming like Miss Susan abandoned us, Miss Debbie.
He said things to that effect.
Yeah, that makes sense. That all makes sense, and I appreciate that. But you didn't think afterwards, after the assassination, that, hey, he did share this concern. Maybe I should go to the authorities and let them know that this is what he told me?
No, I don't think that would actually have much of a bearing on this specific shooting. What I did do and make sure got to the authorities is like specific TikToks or other videos that we saw that we thought were eyebrow raising.
Of course, Fulcrum, and good morning. Good to see you here. He said as much. He may have talked about how there's an increase in tranny violence. He may have talked about those things, which is 100% true. But he has even said before that he is not scared of the transgender community. He was not fearful that a tranny was going to take his life. Absolutely not. No.
Like I've mentioned, this the one that plays like the creepy music where the person like keeps glancing to the
What's
side.
up, Basic?
Like that really creeped us out, and that had actually been seen by a member.
Henderson, what is up? What's up? Good job there. Only half all caps, and that's fine. That's well within the limit. Hey, Miss Debbie said something about making you a mod, so if that's something you're interested in doing, especially when we have our larger crews, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. The real one, bcast@gmail.com. And what else is? Oh, and Shauna, if you show up, if not, if you listen to this after the fact, shoot me an email if you're wanting to do it. So, yeah, we'll get y'all hooked up. Get y'all hooked up. I need all the help I can get. And one other thing, these numbers, I just don't understand it. I am never going to take off a week again. Obviously, I popped in at a random time and did, a show here and there, but I'm going to have to figure out a way the next time I've got to go anywhere to keep on doing my show consistently. Y'all know how, well, yeah, y'all know, y'all been right here the whole time, how hard I work my ass off to get 70, 80, 90, 100 in my chat in the morning consistently. And the last couple of mornings, it's just been like 20, 30. And I think it's because YouTube just ain't pushing it out. That's all I can guess. That break I took, I don't know. But I'm so glad to see the 20, 30. Well, right now it's almost 30. The 30 that are here, y'all are my OGs. Y'all are the ones I can depend on. And I love that I can depend on y'all.
Of our staff before the shooting happened, and she'd made note of it at the time. And so like I cite that as an example. Like we did make sure that stuff was passed on to law enforcement because we did think that was relevant. But I don't think Charlie generally expressed the belief that a left-winger, in particular a transgender person, might try to kill him. I don't think that would be relevant to an investigation. I mean, if they'd asked me about it, sure, I would tell them, but I don't think that is something that bears sending them the way specific things that made me feel suspicious would bear sending to them, which I did do.
Thanks again. I appreciate it. I don't have any other questions, but I really do appreciate you making time to attend these sessions. And I hope that you can continue to do this because you can put
Republic, what is up? What's up, Republic? Jeannie, good to see y'all popping in here. Good to see y'all. Always good to see y'all. And of course, Henderson. And did anybody else pop in that I have not mentioned? Always good to see every single one of y'all. I appreciate it.
A lot of these questions to rest. And a lot of people would appreciate it. And thank you for the host and co-host for hosting this. It's a great space. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Blake, just to clarify some of those. Number one, we obviously heard Charlie talk about that specific. Well, I think he said some blue-haired.
He said blue-haired jihadis as like when he was on Bill Maher, but that was not the only time. I will admit.
By the way, I am going to catch these super chats. I was just going to try to let this go. I know it's a little aggravating to listen to, so figure the less I interrupt, the better. But I'm going to get to the super chats for sure. And so, yeah, don't think I'm going to ignore them. Y'all feel more than welcome to throw them things in here, and I will definitely get to them. Just letting you know, I'm not ignoring super chats. So, come on with it.
It's been almost a year at this point. I don't remember the exact manner in which it happened. I just do recall in the days leading up to the shooting, he said something to the effect of like, oh, like one of these trannies might try to shoot me, I think is the way he might have said it. It wasn't burned into my head because it didn't seem super memorable at the time, but it had been recent enough that I did recall him saying that when the shooting actually happened.
Well, and you know, I did interview Brian Harple, and he talked about how they were
Looks like over the years there was so much burned into that head that it, kept the hair from growing.
constantly getting death threats that they were turning over to the FBI. Can you speak to anything along those lines?
That's the securities realm. I don't know the details of those. All I know is that he had gotten threats in the past, and sometimes they were serious enough to be turned over. That's just stuff I heard about, but I don't know details.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I believe Ashland's up next.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, can. Send it.
Okay. Really quickly. On August 21st, about 3 weeks before the assassination, I believe the Alex McFarland speaker series, in between Charlie Kirk's response about whenever he was like complimenting Candace and speaking on their friendship, he said, and I quote, "If you believe what I believe, shouldn't you want me to be friends with people that don't agree with us? Shouldn't you want me to also be a tool of influence?" End quote. And this would mean that what he's telling people is the connection is no longer just about enjoying someone's company or bonding over shared interests. Instead, it is maintained with a specific objective, which would be to shift their perspectives, values, or behaviors toward their own. And a big part of what Charlie Kirk did was try to bridge the ideological divides, and engaging with people outside of your bubble prevents the creation of an echo chamber, and it allows for dialogue where it otherwise would not exist. And I think when people are listening to Candace.
Morning, Andrew. And yes, it is amazing the reach that he ended up having before his death and then after. A lot of people didn't pay him any attention until after he died, but it's crazy. And look, I knew Charlie for a long time, and I respected him, and I enjoyed a lot of his content and what he did. I thought, the general direction Turning Point was taking, it was a good thing, especially the way our colleges and everything have just went completely like way, way past left, but just, crazy. So I thought it was nice to have the counterbalance, and yeah. But I've always said this, but he was a little bit too, pro-Israel for me. And so I didn't watch just a whole lot of his content. I did watch more there towards the end, especially when I started seeing stuff kind of like, the PBD podcast he did in October of last year. Or not October of last year. Wait. No, not October of last year. Whenever it was. Anyway, when I seen stuff like that, I thought, And so once he started making the shift, I did pay a little more attention to him. But regardless whether I agreed with every single, belief he had, it doesn't take away from the fact that he was really good guy, had a lot of reach, was doing really good work. And this is like one of the worst things that I could ever think of happening. I mean, it's just crazy.
Say that she's best friends with him all the way to the end. He made it very clear 3 weeks before his death, if no one was aware, how he now viewed their relationship. And I think it's very important that people understand what he had said. And that's all I need.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit more about this. Andrew's been saying a lot about this over the last few days because he was more, he knew Candace. He had more of those interactions with her. But it is like, Charlie was well aware Candace was moving in a direction he found distressing and greatly disagreed with. Charlie also was not a person who liked to publicly disavow or denounce people. So he kind of quietly moved away from her, but he wasn't going to, he really hated moral blackmail, as we said. And so he just liked the idea that you have to go on a show and be like, I was once friends with this person, but now I disavow them. That's not the kind of guy he was. He found that sort of performance very ugly. But the truth is he was very distressed by what Candace was doing. And that's why in spring 2024, Candace is doing events with Turning Point, where Charlie's doing events out west and she's doing events out east. And you stop seeing that by the end of 24, by early 25. Even though we're doing tons of events, she's not with them anymore. And that is a product of that split. And yeah, you're right. Charlie was a guy, he tried to maintain a big tent coalition. That's why he was so excited about getting RFK to endorse Trump. That's why he was excited about Maha. He liked various ways of expanding the tent. At the same time, he was not an absolutist of everyone is welcome. He he did have an ability to say, I think these people are sinister.
Yeah.
He endured a lot of hate for that.
They're trying to make,
but I have to go soon, and I know we have
they're trying to completely, well, we know this. They're trying to own the legacy and steer the direction of the way people remember him, and they try to tell us what he believed and how he felt about certain things, and it is absolutely, it drives me batshit crazy because it is just, it's so ridiculous.
at least a couple more people in queue. So let's go to the next one.
Who's running for heel? Poor girl. Yeah, I ran.
I guess I'll go. Blake, the last time that I spoke to you, you said that on the night of September 10th, you stayed in Orem at a hotel.
If I said that I misspoke, I don't believe I stayed in Orem. I think I stayed in Salt Lake.
This is Diligent, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe this is Diligent Dennis, and he is the one that went and interviewed the people at the, whatever it's called, smokehouse, whatever it is, the restaurant in Panguitch, Utah, that Tyler allegedly was at and paid for his food with a card, and that Candace claims to have evidence of, possibly, I'm guessing, a receipt that he was there, which would leave him completely unavailable to be in Orem when and where they say he was.
I mean, I don't know exactly where it was, but I stayed in the same place a bunch of other people stayed, and we had to drive for a bit.
How do you not remember?
This is Diligent, guys.
My mic was muted. I said Bronson was next. Diligent, I'll bring you back up.
Oh, come on.
But
they don't want him asking those questions.
Bronson, go ahead.
Oh, come on.
I do have a question for Blake. I can wait. I don't know if you're closing the space out soon or not, but I did have a question or two for Colin, if he's willing to answer. I got dropped down. Can I finish?
No, Diligent. What I was trying to say was I had already stated who was going to be next. Bronson was next. And
I didn't hear. I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything.
No, fair enough. My mic was off. I was muted. It was my bad. All right, go ahead, Bronson. What do you want to ask Dylan? Colin, really?
Well, there's a couple of questions for Colin.
There you go. He's up.
I don't have to do that right this
No,
second.
go ahead.
If Blake's in a hurry.
I'll make it fun.
Well,
This is
okay,
Bronson, I think.
hey, Colin, real quick. This is super easy. You were just talking to Gary, and you just said that you didn't know enough about ballistics or something to be able to have a conversation about that, whatever you guys were talking about. I'm just curious, what do you have knowledge of that gives you any confidence to talk about any of the stuff you've been saying on X? For example, one of your most recent posts talks about the fact that there was dust found in the barrel, and that is 100% proof that the rifle couldn't have been fired.
That is absolutely. Just saying. Tracy, good to see you in here this morning. I don't think I've seen you in here before. We have a rule that if people pop in here once, we expect them to show up every other time after, if possible. So hopefully you'll mind the rule, and we'll be seeing you a lot more. So I do want to say, I don't know what Candace has or doesn't have. You could be correct. Maybe she doesn't have receipts. But they did reach out to her, and he was explaining how after the FBI never got back with them, no law enforcement ever got back with them once they had left the tip and said that he was there at such and such time, that they sent it in, that they, I don't remember exactly how he worded it, like that they sent it to her or whatever. Anyway, that they had, gotten it out there to Candace. Maybe they don't, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that to prove their story, to, make it more believable, to show evidence that he was indeed there. I don't see it out of the realm of possibility for them to take a receipt and make a copy of it and shoot to her. So maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't know. Only time will tell. But yeah, and for sure on the motive, yes, she has. She's definitely been on the motive thing, and I agree with her on the motive. But nice to see you. Good to see you. If this is your first time in here, welcome. This is the best chat on the internet, I can promise you, and I will make you feel more than welcome. And yeah, hope to see you back.
I'm just wondering why you just spread bullshit daily, and you know nothing about what you're talking about.
Ooh.
Okay, well, that's a lie. And secondly, there is dust in the barrel. I showed the video where she said that.
And if there's dust in the barrel, that means that the gun was not fired. Otherwise, it would have blown the dust out of it. Deny that?
Yes, you're retarded.
Let's hear some science, dumbass.
I would venture to say, again, this is the problem. And again, we want to try to keep this good faith and civil. What I would say is that it is very reasonable to think that we have the gun being shoved through the trees into that bush is going to get dust in the barrel. And by the way, I don't know what she means by
it's not debris, it was dust.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
She specifically said
is there dust? Is there
delineated from debris from dust?
Hold on. Is there dust going to be in trees when you shove it into the location where we saw pictures of it? Absolutely, there's going to be dust. I don't know what she means by it. Does she mean dust by?
Not within a couple of hours when they found it. No.
Well, when you the process of shoving it in through and probably scraping the ground at the same time. The problem is you don't know what that.
This guy is, I mean, God, he's always got an answer, whether it is legit or not. So here, let me just tell you what ChatGPT says. I've heard Grok's answer, and Grok is pretty consistent with this. Obviously, Gary's going to argue, but he has to. So, yes, firing a rifle will generally blow out loose dust or debris from the bore. And those are the two things that we are discussing here, dust or debris. The extremely hot, high-pressure gases behind the bullet sweep the barrel as the bullet travels down it, so loose dust won't usually remain after a shot. That said, there are some important distinctions. Loose dust, usually expelled by the first shot. Mud, snow, packed dirt, or other obstruction, these are a different matter. She did not say anything of mud, snow, packed dirt, or anything, any other obstruction. She said dust, specifically. Even when asked, she differentiated between debris and dust. Fouling, powder residue, and copper fouling from previous shots are not cleaned out by firing. In fact, shooting adds more fouling over time. I really believe that somebody in her line of work would have said that this was either gunpowder, fouling, or copper residue. She said dust. So if you're asking specifically about a light coating of dust inside the barrel, then yes, a fired round would generally remove most or all of it. If your question relates to examining a firearm after it was fired or to a specific forensic scenario, I can explain how investigators think about dust in the barrel. Okay, so I'm sorry. If there was dust in that barrel, it would not be there after the gun was shot. Now, the gun was put there, yes. And it sat there, yes. Can dust collect in a barrel when it just sits there, especially outdoors? Yes. In that short amount of time, we are talking about a tiny little hole, about, with a 300, with a 30 caliber, you're looking at about just under 5/16 of an inch, and actually a little smaller than that because the bore is going to be smaller than the bullet size. That being said, let's just say just over a quarter. That's a tiny little hole for dust to just kind of randomly settle in. Every picture that we've gotten shows the bolt closed. I had no reason to believe that when he set the gun down, the bolt was open. So especially with that, it wouldn't be just gravity dropping it down in there. It would literally have to be blown up in the end. Gary mentions him dragging it through the dirt or shoving the end of the barrel in the dirt. That's not dust. That would, again, be considered like debris and or, obstruction if that's what happened. So, Gary, you're full of shit. There would be no dust in the barrel.
That is. And the problem
and yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Rick. It had a fucking towel wrapped around it. Come on now.
Well, you would get dust in there. There wouldn't be debris in there. Whatever.
There would be debris in there from shoving on the ground. Dust is from it sitting and not.
What up, girly? What up, girly?
Listen to me, Colin. Listen, the only thing, whatever would be able to get into that barrel would have to be small enough to get through whatever towel or whatever else is going in there. It will keep the large debris out, but it wouldn't necessarily keep the sticks. The fact is, I don't know what she even meant by that. I don't know how that dust.
She meant dust because he said, what about debris, which would be a little bigger than, dust we could assume. And she said, no, just dust.
Got there, but the fact is you don't either. And so to immediately assume, and this is the problem that I have, and I think that
it's going across the top of the screen, Henderson. It is. The real one, PCast, because podcast was taken at gmail.com. And all of that I said is not the email. The real one, PCast at gmail.com.
Thompson's touching on is
It doesn't matter how it got there. Just the fact that it's there by itself proves that the gun was not fired. Same thing with the safety on it proves that the gun.
Thanks,
No,
Debbie.
it is. No, I'm correct. And just it also proves the gun was not fired because of the safety.
No,
I
have proven that incorrect.
No,
I've already had this discussion 1,000 times. We have a aftermarket safety on that gun. This has been proven.
No, it didn't. It was on the aftermarket.
Okay.
The pictures prove it.
I'm gonna send you the pictures that prove it. Because I have, unlike you, actually have a Mauser, and I can tell you what the original flag safety.
I don't care what your Mauser is. I know what the original flag safety looks like too, and I looked at it on the gun that they showed in the courtroom, and it matches exactly what the original military safety.
Gary, we don't want you to whip out your Mauser. Not wanting it.
The one that was originally shown, yes.
Holy fuck, Gary, come on.
I got nothing, man. I'm gonna post the picture that proves that is not a stock safety on there. That is an aftermarket safety on there. So,
Well, since you brought me up, I got one more
Go
question
ahead.
for Blake, if you let me ask.
go ahead.
Okay,
I'm a generous space.
when you
Host.
when you got, and then I'll jump down and I'll get off. So when you guys rented the SUV, Danny Phillips was in charge of procuring that, right?
I have no idea. I was never involved in renting a vehicle.
Okay. Now, do you know? I know you had confirmed that Tyler, or whoever you guys think was Tyler, or whoever I don't think it was Tyler, but you confirmed that person supposedly talked to a Turning Point representative. Was that you or Danny? Maybe.
Police say that he did. I suspect that is true because I don't think the police would say it otherwise. I have never spoken to Tyler Robinson. I don't think Danny has ever spoken to Tyler Robinson. It would be pretty unlikely.
What about Lance Twiggs? You ever spoken to him? Maybe Lance Twiggs dressed up as Tyler Robinson? Just asking questions.
Because
And yes, he did confirm. He does know because he said, even if I knew who it was, I wouldn't say because I know this person didn't do anything wrong. So for him to know that this person didn't do anything wrong, he would have to know who this person is, which would obviously mean that he knew who he talked to. And you're telling me all of those people together there, nobody would say like, oh man, that's so weird. I talked to the guy who killed him before this ever happened. Nobody ever said that. You never. Come on, Blake.
I'm pretty sure we both came in with Charlie, which means we only arrived. I can't remember the exact time, but it was definitely not at like 9 a.m.
So the FBI or the police have never questioned you guys at Turning Point, specifically asking about this,
Miss Debbie, it's the real one, PCast, for podcast, but podcast was taken. Just want to clarify, just so people know. Yeah, the real one, PCast at gmail.com. I got it right here. I dropped it in the chat too.
Whoever interacted with this person. So I find it hard to believe that you wouldn't know, especially since you were actually there that day. You wouldn't know who interacted with the alleged suspect.
I was not at UVU at the time that this interaction happened, and I don't know who it was with.
Okay, fair enough.
All right,
That's all I got to say.
Diligent, I'll get to you. One witness and Tyler Young were ahead of you. One witness, go ahead.
Hey, brother. Thank you kindly for hosting a space and also displaying diligence to allow proper jurisprudence to be executed in every manner of patience and decency, properly respecting the boundaries of the family first and foremost. Much needed in this endeavor for sure. I just wanted to say thank you guys for doing that.
Seems like they've kind of forfeited a lot of that though.
And one of the common threads that we've seen is a bunch of I don't know. And still yet again, I'm not sure.
Sure.
And I'm just asking questions. And that was, and in fact is, the thread that runs through this endeavor among people who do not know how to display proper boundaries and allow jurisprudence and a system that is designed to execute it. Perhaps not always perfectly, but to be sure, far better than any of the internet gumshoes will be able to execute. And I just wanted to say thank you, men, for being decent in that endeavor. And imagine, guys, asking about someone's body while they're dead. And I just wanted to close with saying these good words from the Son of David. He said, wherever the carcass is, the vultures gather.
I'll
so
do it,
how about
Henderson.
not being a vulture and predatory in your endeavors and believe in the good and the best in others
and in doing so choose life. And I say that to you all with 100% confidence. The damage you have done to many, many families and many political movements.
Sarah, it's all bullshit. They're all full of shit. That campus has thousands of cameras on it, and all of them just got redone just a few years ago. That interaction is on video. And how do you think they'd know that there was an interaction? I don't think anybody just came and offered that information up to the police. It is on video. Now, will they show who that person was in court? No. Did they consider that person a person of interest and, treat them like a suspect? No, probably not. But they know. And yes, it would be super easy to solve. Actually, it doesn't need to be solved. It just needs to be, we need to know. It needs to get leaked. That's about the only way we'll find out. There is footage of it, for sure.
Is, to be sure, untold, like tearing open a feather pillow and casting it to the wind. So be measured in your approach and your endeavor to search for the truth, because you don't want to be carried away by the winds from your own mouth, to be sure.
Thanks for that one, witness. I think those
Hope
were
Gary
wise
was
words.
listening.
Bronson, real quick, I didn't realize that in the midst of it all, I may have cut you off. Did you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I did have a question for Blake.
Yeah, go ahead.
Blake, I'm just wondering, and you can answer this or you don't have to, it doesn't matter. I have a feeling you're not a big fan of Candace Owens. Did you ever like Candace Owens at all?
I had a long period where I wasn't that aware of her. So like I knew she was like a conservative personality, but like I don't think I ever watched her videos. I don't think I ever saw her stuff when she was at Prager. Like there's a lot of right-wing personalities out there. As you might guess, I'm a bit of a, what might they call it, a word seller or whatever. Like I sometimes joke that if I didn't like work for these shows, I would never watch them. I'm much more of a reader guy. So what I will say is I didn't know that much about her. I will say I became more aware, really, honestly, probably after 10/7, I started to pay attention because she started to like really ramp up her rhetoric about Israel, the Jews, all of that. And what I actually was warning Charlie around that time is basically, Charlie, I've seen what happens when people get going down this rabbit hole, and usually they don't stop halfway. In fact, I've never seen it stop halfway. They always end up going further and further and getting crazier and crazier. And I think that's probably what's going to happen to Candace too. Yeah, and so I will say, like, people have joked. There's like an old clip of Thought Crime where they're talking about her. And,
yeah, Kez, I'm about done here.
like, Charlie says something about her, and I kind of have a little disgruntled.
They might provide manual pressure to relieve any bleeding that they can on the move, and they pick him up and they move him. So he's only there about 26 seconds before they start moving him. So they are responding to the threat, and that is the protocols that they're supposed to do. Now, once they get him to the vehicle, then it's a matter of making sure that massive hemorrhaging is addressed before we start any CPR intervention. So we have March, massive hemorrhaging, airway. And airway is just making sure that the airway is not blocked with any debris or anything else, the tongue, Copenhagen, whatever it happens to be. R is respirations, and that's still not introduced.
All right, this is the last one I can do, by the way. Then I got to head out.
Okay. So I got dropped down last time when I was in the middle of the question. The first time I talked.
Have y'all actually heard him answer a question yet? I don't think I've really heard him answer a question.
You said you spent the night in Orem. You stayed at a hotel. You may have left the hotel once for food. Yeah, but now you're saying you were in Salt Lake. So you're good.
I'm not. Now I'm saying I don't know the exact context, but my guess is someone said, like, did you stay in Orem that night? And I interpreted it as, did you stay in Utah that night, as opposed to returning to Phoenix, where I live. And I stayed in Utah that night, and I stayed basically in the same place everyone else stayed. We were all in, to my knowledge, the same hotel, and it was, I think, in Salt Lake.
What hotel was it?
I don't remember.
Hey, Diligent,
Okay.
The prompt is the prompt. This is not here to interrogate.
Look, I've worked at companies before that put people up. And yes, when I worked for a particular company, I would stay different places. They would definitely book different hotels. But there were a choice few, and most of the time it was one particular hotel. And I can still remember what hotels I generally stayed in when I worked for this company. So you cannot tell me that, for one, Turning Point didn't favor certain motels, be it for rate or what have you, whatever. Probably some deal worked out with them. And to think that he does not know what kind of hotel he stayed in is ludicrous. Because if he had a room for himself, all he has to do is go back to his emails, type in hotel, itinerary, whatever. He would have had some type of itinerary because the room would have had to have been put in his name, no matter who paid for it. So the guy is full of shit. I know how this works because I did this a lot. So to say that he doesn't know what hotel he stayed in is a fucking bald-faced lie.
I'm just asking for. I have very
I
specific
understand.
questions.
Again, the specific questions and answers that we need to stick to. So
It's about September the 10th, right?
I don't mind.
I'm not asking for his
hold on. The specific things we're going to address is either why is Tyler Robinson innocent, or what did you learn from the preliminary
so I'm going to
hearing?
move on to my next one. So I interviewed employees in Panguitch at Cowboys Steakhouse, and they put Tyler Robinson at the steakhouse between 8:55 and 9:47 p.m. And that makes it impossible for him to be texting Lance Twiggs saying that I have been here for 3 hours watching the K-9 units, waiting for this officer to leave, and also get stopped by an officer.
By the way, watching the K-9 units that Gary Melton says there is no evidence were actually even there.
At 12:30 a.m. And let me just say this week, right, very, very soon, there's going to be conclusive evidence released that proves that he was there. So my question to you is one,
there it is. Sounds like somebody's been doing a little bit of, it seems like there's been a bit of communication going on between him and others that could maybe, possibly, allegedly, perhaps, I said those all out of order, could possibly maybe have a little bit of evidence such as a receipt or something. So I am really looking forward to that. So guys, y'all be watching for that. That will throw a major monkey wrench into this thing. And if that can be proved on paper, no doubt, what is the prosecution going to do? And besides that, how is the defense going to handle that? Because that is not going to look good on the defense. You know, I've been kind of rooting for the defense lately. I was very skeptical to start with, but I've kind of started feeling like maybe they are doing a good job. Barron says the same thing. And I mean, he's a lawyer, 20-year lawyer. And look, through the preliminary, I said I was kind of impressed. Kind of a Catherine Nestor fan. But if this is true, indeed, if it is indeed true and can be proved, and I have a feeling it is and will be, that's going to put everybody in an awkward position.
Bro, have you seen the post up in the Jumbotron of the interview that IDs Tyler Robinson in Panguitch until 9:47 p.m.? Blake?
I mean, what are they going to say if they have a time-stamped security video, an actual good camera, maybe possibly that shows who the person actually is and shows some features, unlike the ones that we've seen footage from so far? What are they going to do if we get that time-stamped and all with somebody without a shadow of doubt that is Tyler Robinson, and also a receipt showing that Mr. Robinson paid for his meal at 10 o'clock, give or take, that night there in Panguitch? What are they going to say to that? Gary will come up with something. He needs to be their new PR guy. Keep me no worse than Andrew.
The what?
There is a video of an interview with a worker, right, up in the Jumbotron. The worker is telling us that Tyler Robinson.
You mean an anonymous guy with a T-shirt? Not a.
Why are you interrupting me?
All right, nobody interrupt Diligent except for me or Blake.
Yeah. So there is a worker. Actually, there are two workers.
We got rules here.
At Mormons at a family diner, right? That 100% positively ID'd Tyler Robinson at their steakhouse that night at 9:47 p.m. from 8:55 to 9:47.
Let me ask you a question in regard to that.
So you're not going to let him answer?
No, I'm running the space, and I want to know a question of you, and that is, why didn't the defense present this alibi?
That's a very good question.
Very
Paramount.
good question.
You should ask them.
Okay, and then also on top of this, why every time that we get information from you guys, it's an anonymous source with unverifiable information?
How is it anonymous source? Can you call and ask them if I was there?
I don't care whether you.
I supplied photos, videos, images, a selfie.
What you didn't provide was evidence. What you didn't provide was evidence.
Oh, well, what did I say? Did you listen carefully to what I started with?
Oh, I did. How much more do you need to see that Tyler Robinson is guilty? We got DNA evidence. We got surveillance footage.
You're changing the subject instead of letting Blake answer the question.
No evidence. You have no evidence of that actually taking place.
Let Blake answer.
So witness testimony is evidence, one.
Okay.
And Tyler Robinson paid with his debit card, which is a tracked banking transaction.
Do you have the receipt? Do you have proof of that?
So are you going to let Blake answer the question?
These are my questions. I'm running the space.
He does have a receipt.
Answer your question, bro. What do you mean?
I asked you if you
had evidence. Him or Candace.
I just told you I had evidence of that.
Okay. Well, put that down in the chat or up in the Jumbotron.
It's up in the Jumbotron. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You have evidence of him running his debit card.
It's up in the Jumbotron.
I see. I've already watched the video. What I'm saying is,
you have watched the video.
Yeah.
So are you saying that Mormon kid is lying? Is that what you're saying right now?
I think Mormons lie all the time.
So you're so it's your position that a random Mormon restaurant worker is
my
lying
position
about
that a Mormon
Tyler
can be confused, and I know how good eyewitness testimony.
And what about two of them? Are two of them confused?
Well, I don't know.
Two separate people.
We have multiple investigators. We have his text messages and his confessions. Are they confused
or fabricated?
Okay, or maybe the Mormon fabricated it. Half the investigators.
Okay.
Hold on, half the investigators in Provo were freaking in Orem were Mormon. Right,
dude. Almost all of Utah is Mormon.
Well, that's my point. So the Orem,
but not almost all of Utah works for the FBI.
The Orem law enforcement officers that are Mormon would lie about this whole thing and fabricate evidence. But the Mormon at the restaurant that we have no evidence of whatsoever he's above board.
Wait, just because wait. Who said that there wasn't evidence?
I just asked you for evidence. You just sat there and said, "Hey, look at the video." The video is
that's what I said.
Testimony. That's the testimony. Yeah. Do you have the credit card transaction? What evidence, other than somebody's word, do you have that he was there? And by the way, I don't even necessarily have to look at the timeline, but it doesn't necessarily even disprove anything that's being alleged by law enforcement.
So if evidence is presented this week that conclusively proves that he was there until 10 p.m., right? And it breaks the timeline presented by the prosecutors. So my question,
hold on.
You've asked me like 10 questions. You're going to let me ask one?
This is my space. I can ask you a million questions. It doesn't matter.
Ooh, it's his space.
So after the time,
you're scared of this question.
No, you're scared of the questions. I'm the one asking.
I've answered like 6. What are you talking about?
Well, again, so when was the last time that Tyler Robinson was there at the restaurant allegedly?
9:47 p.m.
So 9:47 p.m. When was the next time that he was seen or allegedly seen or documented to be in Orem?
12:30.
So that is over 2.5 hours.
And it is 2 hours and 57 minutes or 2 hours and 50 minutes to drive from Orem or from Panguitch to Orem. Oh, so are you alleging that he sped on the most patrolled highway?
Are you alleging that
Utah?
It's impossible. So exploding mics are possible.
The night of
the exploding mics are possible.
Also, we have to factor in the fact that he's an assassin, first time assassin, 22 years old, and he doesn't even care enough to drive the speed limit to get back to pick up his gun. And besides the fact, he just drove 3 hours to go eat a steak just to come back and grab his gun. Come the fuck on.
Exploding mics are possible, but Tyler Robinson, who's guilty of murder, is impossible that he's
guilty. He ain't guilty.
One small thing there, Paramount.
Gary just said he was guilty.
During the text messages, right? During the text messages, he's describing being there for 3 hours in the text messages. I'll read it to you if you would like. So how can he be sitting there for 3 hours if he's in Panguitch?
I don't know. I have to look at the exact timeline and look at the text messages.
You got to look at the exact timeline. I'll get back with you.
So if we prove conclusively that Tyler Robinson could not have been in Orem that night, that the text messages are fabricated, right? Are you going to start searching for the real killer with the same vigor that you are defending the narrative that you are now?
How is there any evidence that the text messages are fabricated? They were taken directly off his phone.
Because he can't be in two places at once.
Well, but he just lied.
He said he was there, sitting there, waiting for hours to get this gun. Said it plainly. Said he'd been there for hours. Hours that, if I'm correct, and if he's correct, will prove that he was sitting in Panguitch at a steakhouse at the second chair in from the end of the bar.
What if he just lied about being there for 3 hours? What if he looked for 3 hours earlier and then he left and then he came back? There's any.
And then how did he encounter did he teleport? How is he driving back from Panguitch?
Wow.
How did he encounter a cop? How did he encounter a cop in Orem, which is also logged in the record that a cop encountered him and logged
Exactly. Okay, so again, the impossible timeline. How can he be on his way back from Panguitch and run into a cop, Blake? That's impossible. It's impossible.
How is that impossible? How is that impossible?
What do you mean? How is it impossible?
You literally said it was a 2 hour and 45 minute.
2 hour and 49-minute drive.
Yeah. And, so wow, he gained 4 minutes. He gained 4 minutes over that time. So
no, I think the first time that he gets spotted is at 12:06.
I mean, you practice diligent. There's no way around this.
Okay.
So it was 2 hours and 20 minutes in the middle of the night.
It's impossible. Impossible.
Maybe and possibly with police. Maybe not.
He would have to be driving like 100 miles an hour the entire way. Are you telling me is that your position, Blake?
Hold on. No, my position is I'd like to know exactly the mileage from there. From what's the name of the?
It is on my It's on the post. Go look at the second reply.
I want to do my own work. But what was the name of this restaurant?
Oh, okay, go ahead. It is
the PANQ or something.
It is. What's that? It's Cowboys Smokehouse in Panguitch.
Okay. Boys Smokehouse.
And then just put in UVU.
Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary.
To answer your question, I would tell you right now that if tomorrow we find out that there's evidence that anything has been fabricated, I would 100% follow that to the end. I mean, whatever.
Debbie's right. I'm fixing to have to go to work. I wanted to hear the end of this little conversation here. This is great. And then we'll play Candace real quick, and then I'll have to get out of here.
The evidence is going to lead. That's where I would go. And if there was evidence,
or was it me?
What's that?
Oh, you cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry.
So if you wait, I have your commitment that if we find out tomorrow that these text messages or later this week that these text messages are fabricated, that you and Blake Neff are committed to seeking out the truth of why that's the case.
I mean, I've always been committed to seeking out the truth. I mean, the problem is I don't think that you.
I mean, you looked up the time and then you shifted gears there real quick, Gary.
I'm still looking it up. I'm still looking it up. What are you talking about?
I mean, no offense, Diligent, but you're the guy who
It don't take that long to pull up a route on either iPhone maps or Google Maps on an Android.
You guys have been freaking harassing us about freaking SUV rentals. You have a lot of.
I've never harassed any one of you.
No, that was us
actually. You harassed us like tonight.
Give me one example.
Oh, that was us.
Paramount, this was already the owner called the FBI, submitted to the FBI the credit card number of the person who paid.
Even the owner wasn't there the night that Tyler Robinson was. Two employees were.
Even the employee in the video says, "I think it's him."
No, he said 100% certainty.
But they don't have confirmation. There is surveillance footage above the cashier.
There is.
I'm gonna check it out just as soon as I get off here, Henderson.
No surveillance footage. That was installed. To the media reports, that was installed afterwards. I have the entire interaction with the owner and the workers all recorded, so you can try to run your shit all you want.
Listen, Diligent. You're the biggest problem talking to you.
Reading from the media reports.
The biggest problem talking.
Why is Mitch interrupting, Paramount?
Mitch, stop interrupting.
I was quiet, so
Diligent. Listen. The problem with talking to you is you talk over people and you think the louder you get, the righter you are. That's not how this works.
Bro, I'm not being any louder.
Right now, you're interrupting me. I'm trying not to interrupt you, but this is always the issue talking with you about anything. So anyways, the point is I think both Blake and I think any honest person out there, if there's new evidence that is presented tomorrow that changes something from a substantive standpoint, I can tell you, me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, I would change whatever I needed to change based on the evidence. And by the way, I've done that multiple times throughout this investigation from the very beginning.
We've noticed.
So, you've noticed what?
You've changed your mind multiple times. During the course of my mind,
Diligent, you're just such a jerk.
I changed my mind one time, if anything, on that, and that was based on evidence.
Diligent, your position was that the entire prosecution team in Orem has colluded to fake all the text messages on Tyler's phone and also fake the data that shows him leaving Orem at, I believe, 1:33 a.m. or whatever the amount was on the thing. like every single aspect of this has been fabricated. I mean, along with everything else. So fabricating the DNA evidence, which would require collusion of a lot of people, placing this rifle, which did belong to Tyler Robinson, in the towel and all of that, and like faking all of the evidence in his apartment. Like all of that comes together and you're like, I'm going to bring it all apart because this guy swears he saw Tyler Robinson in a restaurant at the specific time where it actually wouldn't even be impossible for Tyler Robinson to drive back to Orem from that restaurant in the time span indicated anyway.
And if there was an actual investigation and they actually looked into this and confirmed all of this, they could 1,000% confirm this. They could pull data from traffic cameras along the route, along possible routes, and they could find that car. And they could also, of course, we have not heard anything yet about cell phone pings. Wouldn't that be interesting if some of his pings shows that maybe he was in Panguitch when he was supposed to be having a run-in with a law enforcement officer?
That is what is going to allow you to unwind the entire case with all of its evidence.
Yeah, so anyways, if you drive, it's 206 miles, going 80 miles an hour, get you there.
Even Gary didn't think that shit made any sense. He's like, anyway.
They're in about 2.5 hours. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate you breaking that down. Anyways, so it doesn't, there's no conflict here other than potentially the text message.
Except for potentially the text messages, which the text messages are his confession. And that's the only thing they really have on him is a confession, air quotes. I mean, what else? Like the gun cannot be, like Lionel says, might as well have a lint roller. The confessions are the real thing that they're trying to stand on here, and they're not going to hold up.
Again, I stand by it. Again, if there's something that's going to present itself, and by the way, that's a real rich coming from Diligent and multiple other people on this. When you guys have jumped from one theory to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, I've changed my position sort of one time, and I was more doubtful that the 30-06 wouldn't have an exit wound. And then again, once I was confronted with the MLK, I actually studied it. I went to the MLK case study. I studied every aspect of that. I started looking at pathology reports from the military, and look what I found. Hey, you know what? This is more common than I thought. That's just a fact. There's 4 people that I know that were shot with 30-06, and none of them have an exit wound. And that's Charlie Kirk, Martin Luther King, Chuck Ritter, who was shot from 25 yards away, hit him in the spine, deflected downward, and he's still alive. And then Shane Hill.
Here we go.
It was all
Martin Luther King, the bullet goes in, comes out. It does have an exit wound. It goes in, comes out of his jaw, and then guess what? It goes back into his body again and travels way down in here. And not only that, though, he is shot, not completely, but basically parallel with his body. This is not a somewhat straight-on shot like we have with Charlie Kirk. This thing is coming in at a downward angle, goes in one side, comes out the other, goes back into the body, and then keeps going. Come on now. You can't say there's no exit wound for one, because there is, and then it re-enters. And then it's traveling straight through his body. What do you expect? I mean, is the bullet supposed to come out his asshole? Come on.
4 of these people were shot in the spine, and there's no exit wound. So I have more evidence that is possible. And yes, based on the information that I learned, I was more sure that it was possible. Never said it was confirmed. I think right now, with the preponderance of the evidence, it's the only logical
preponderance. Say a big word, makes you sound really smart, and makes you sound like you're telling the truth.
Conclusion at this point. So that's where I stand. But you guys have jumped from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So don't even play that game. I will say, you know what, Mitch, you were already talking earlier. Go ahead.
Oh man, I'm at work. Can I just please?
Yeah, that girl, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
No, Jacko, you always do this. You always jump ahead of everybody.
How dare you? Don't like that anymore. Like,
we've all waited a long time.
No, I waited a long time. I waited before you. Like, come on now.
Come on now.
No, you didn't.
Come on now.
The host called upon me, so respectfully, just let me speak.
I was already here. Like, this is ridiculous.
Respectfully, you do this in every space.
Bring every space. I didn't say. This is irrelevant on purpose.
Sorry, guys.
I'm talking now. So anyway, 2 things. Blake, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come up here, Paramount, and I won't let it make it take long. Blake, I hope you're having a good night, and I will not get derailed by this guy. And just one question for you, and then I do have something to say to Paramount. I heard about this 4D type of imaging that we were going to see with the, courts. Benny Johnson came out, everybody came out, like, oh my God, we saw it in 4K, sorry, not 4D, 4K imaging. This was Tyler Robinson that was, by the time I got to see the imaging, I saw artifact. That's what I mean. Obviously, I'm being a little tongue in cheek with the artifact word, but to hear 4K and then to see this kind of blur blobs right across the street screen. So, do you think that somebody who sees this and says, "I'm not sure that definitively Tyler Robinson was on that roof. I know something happened on that roof, but I don't know that I can say I'm placing Tyler Robinson based on this imaging that I was told that when I see it, I will know that it was him."
You go, girl.
Am I wrong for that?
Someone for not reaching that conclusion just off of the footage, but that conclusion is reached off the footage combined with the rifle being discovered that is owned by Tyler Robinson, combined with his DNA being on that rifle and being on the towel and being on the screwdriver, combined with his car being present at UVU multiple times that day when he lives many hours away, combined with him sending incriminating text messages to Lance Twiggs, which were turned over to police afterwards and extracted, certainly from Lance Twiggs' phone. I'm not sure if Tyler's as well, but definitely Lance's. Combined with his parents recognizing him from that video and then having some sort of confrontation with him.
I don't think they recognize him there, buddy.
Combined with... Oh, have I left anything out of this?
If you keep saying combined with, it makes it sound more credible.
No, I could go through a lot of that stuff, to be honest.
It makes it sound like a super preponderance, not just a preponderance.
But I don't want to, you know what I mean? Because with the DNA, there's other DNA there, and apparently Tyler Robinson's DNA was actually more degraded than other people's DNA. So like this.
And on the DNA, we will have, we are going to have us a good conversation about DNA in the very near future. Miss Christine, the retired sorry, how do words work? The retired detective, the retired detective that we talked to a few days ago. We're going to have her back on here in the very near future, and we're going to break down all this DNA. That is her specialty. Genetic genealogy. She knows all about it.
But there's other DNA on certain items, whatever. So we could do this all day. But the point is that the messaging, right? Like, look, for me, it could be that Tyler Robinson is the one who sadly took out Charlie Kirk. I can't believe the last few months I've been missing him more and more. I wasn't that huge of a fan, but I would have loved to debate him. But here we are today. But for me, there's always more to what meets the eye in the situation. And I'm sorry, I won't stop saying it, especially coming back to a Paramount. I'll give this to you. I see the other hands. I'm not going to be rude and try to, keep on talking or cut people off or whatever. But, you're giving me this thing about massive, March assessment and everything else. But, in my videos, I've actually covered everything with the March assessment. There were multiple people working on supposedly.
Does anybody know who this is that is talking? I wish I could remember the name of her channel. And I tell you what, I'll try to find it. Between now and tomorrow morning. She has a YouTube channel. She doesn't post a lot, but she really has an issue with Gary for good reason. And she's really good. I like her. And the only reason I know is I just know that voice. Know it anywhere. I've watched her, and so I'll try to find out the name of her YouTube channel and share that with y'all so y'all can go check her out. She's good.
Working on Charlie Kirk. Instead, I saw them passing off weird things to each other. I don't know.
You can zoom in and you can slow it down.
So somebody grabbed something.
No, they didn't.
They put it in their back pocket.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Forget that. Fine. They didn't pass off anything. Even though I'm not really conceding that, but I'm moving on because I see where this is going. Massive hemorrhaging. So you have multiple people working on this man. One person could have been working on the hemorrhaging, but for you to say that not doing CPR is an absolute, that's what you shouldn't do. Hold on a second, I'm not done. You shouldn't do CPR. What's the point of anything then? You're going to have a bunch of blood pooling in his body, veins collapsing, no oxygenated cells, hemoglobin getting to the organs and stuff. But again, you had multiple people with him. So one person could have been working on trying to apply some pressure to that wound. You can't apply a tourniquet there because that's his neck. Okay. This is the pathophysiology of how it goes. But even better, a neck wound. Okay. Whatever it was, a neck wound is not supposed to be moved like that, head bobbing all over the place.
It's clear to me that you're not aware of TCCC interventions. This is doctrine. You get them. Hold on. You get them off the X. You do not worry about a perceived threat, i.e., a neck injury, when you have an imminent threat, the shooter and the massive bleed. That is the doctrine. You don't have to like it, but you can take that up with the National Association of Medical Technicians, and you can take it up with SOCOM, who really developed those to begin with. So, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, like this. this so comes out. I'm going to go into this teaching because from what I'm looking at, again, I'm looking at your March assessment, and I'm also giving you the answers based on your March assessment. And there's no world where you're saying I'm not done.
You're
I'm not done.
opinion of things, and it's wrong.
No, I'm not saying my opinion. I have saved a life, so I saved many lives.
As well. I know
that you have.
I have done field trauma multiple times in real combat situations. So I don't know what your point is. The
God
fact
bless
is
you.
everything that you're bringing up.
The debate about saved many lives, whatever. I wasn't saying that like if you haven't. Hold on.
Okay, I'm really entertained, but not enough to keep on. I know y'all are probably tired of hearing that. I'll watch this for my own entertainment purposes later. Okay, here we go. I just think in the spirit of listening to Blake bullshit his way through this space, that we should hear what Miss Candace thinks about all this.
And his memory regarding September 10th,
a day
that is etched in my mind in remarkable detail, has grown fuzzy. You see, we have to remember that Charlie had an event before the event, which I said was unusual. It's like they didn't want him to land in Provo. He does this restaurant event, does his last interview with a guy named Andrew Smith. He flies into Salt Lake City, not Provo. Blake Neff was on board that.
There you go. Thanks, Keza. That girl. Thank you. Y'all go check her out.
Private jet with Charlie to Salt Lake City on that morning. Mikey McCoy was also aboard that jet. Mikey McCoy rented just 2 SUVs in Salt Lake City, which were to meet them. We know that one was carrying Charlie and Mikey McCoy.
No, that's not in cahoots, Jeannie. I know who you're talking about, and she's good too. But yes, I believe that is correct, that girl. And while we're listening to this, I will confirm that. If that is, I'll let y'all know here in just a second.
And Frank Turek and John McGovern, who works in gifts at Turning Point USA, raises money for them. And we assume security. We know it's not Dan Flood to that Savory Fund restaurant event for Charlie's final interview. But it turns out the other SUV, when they landed, carried Blake Neff to, he doesn't know. He doesn't remember. He knows he didn't go to the restaurant event, but he doesn't know where he went or why he woke up early to go nowhere in Salt Lake City. Where did the SUV go? Who was driving it? What were they doing? I kid you not, Blake Neff jumped onto an X Space and is trying to sell, but he just simply doesn't remember what he did when he declined to just go with Charlie for his final interview. Take a listen. And I'm sorry in advance, there's a lot of people talking over.
No, it's not that girl. God, what is the name of that podcast? I will figure it out, I promise.
Each other. It's an X Space, so it's a bit of a frustrating listen, but you'll get the point.
At the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith before he went to UVU.
And prior, I wasn't at that event. I was in the other SUV.
So where were you in between time? When you got off the plane, where did you go?
I was in the other SUV.
Captain, what's up? That may be. Hold on, and I will check that. Thank you for the tips. Thank you.
Go straight to, did you go straight to UVU?
We had 2 SUVs. I was in the one Charlie wasn't in, and I was somewhere. I actually have no idea where they parked it.
What do you mean you don't know where you were?
I'd never been to Utah before.
So you got off the plane with Charlie, you jumped in the other SUV. Where did you go?
We went somewhere. Why would I?
You went somewhere.
Why would I remember that? Like, can you consider for just one moment that I did not know
that
Charlie was going to.
Did you go straight to the UVU event?
Around the Orem, Utah area. We went.
Surely you've been asked these questions by the authorities, right?
No.
Why would I be asked the questions like that by the authorities?
Because you're a key witness to a murder.
No, I'm not. I'm 100.
Surely you can, hang on. Surely you can remember what you did that morning.
I'm a key witness to Charlie's life. I'm not a particularly important witness to the murder.
So you got off the plane, you got in the SUV. Where did you go? Hang on, let me finish the question. Where did you go?
What do you mean, where did I go?
You got off the plane, you got in the SUV.
Did you go to a restaurant? Did you go to a strip club? Where did you go?
We drove somewhere, and because I wasn't going to that event, we just parked and we marked time until the actual Utah Valley event. And
who else was in your car? Do you have a security guy with you?
I don't remember the specific people in my car. I believe.
Come on, Blake.
Why would I remember all of these things?
It's pretty easy. It was just you and Danny Phillip.
That might be who it was. Yeah.
No, not Casey. Dang it.
You could remember that.
Any takers? Any takers on you flew on a private plane, you landed, and you got into an SUV, and someone just Men in Blacked your memory? And you have no idea where the car went. You have no idea who was driving. You have no idea who was there, because why would you remember? You should remember.
Sorry, guys. I was pausing one, it was unpausing the other, would pause it, and that would pause. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I couldn't think. Yes, it is that. I'm going to try not to talk the rest of the day. It is that girl Casey. Woo! I'm not subscribed. I thought I subscribed to her a long time ago. She's good. Y'all got to check her out. I'm going to keep playing this while I drop that in the chat.
Because it's like not every day that you take a private plane to a place that you've never been and get into an SUV. It's bizarre. And then you see at the end, someone says, you were with Danny Phillip. Okay, so Danny Phillip flew with them. And then beyond that, I don't know if more people were in the car. Beyond that, the only thing he can remember is that they drove off and they went somewhere unknown to, and I quote, mark time. Where they went, they don't know. But they went to mark time. I mean, if you don't want to go to the event with
what the fuck does mark time mean? Can anybody in the chat please tell me that?
Charlie, why wouldn't you just sit in the parking lot at the event that Charlie was going if you're just going to mark time? Ladies and gentlemen, something is very wrong with that lapse. Okay. And a piece of what's wrong and what my mind immediately went to is Danny Phillip. Because who is Danny Phillip? That's an important question, actually. Danny Phillip.
I think we're going to be hearing more about Danny Phillip pretty soon in the very near future.
Phillip is very young. He just graduated college in May of 2025. Gets hired right out of college to work for Charlie. Danny Phillip, you might recall many moons ago when we discussed Mikey McCoy's call logs. Before Charlie got shot at 12:02, Mikey McCoy was on the phone with Danny Phillip. I thought they were just both at the event. Maybe, I don't know what that phone call was about. And then after Charlie gets shot, he's on the phone for 10 minutes with Danny Phillip. I thought it initially was Danny McCoy. No, it's Danny Phillip, this young kid fresh out of college. And I got to thinking, again, why were there so many of these new young employees that day that were given such VIP roles? Remember, we discussed Catherine Locastro. She was on the plane with Erica, escorting Erica after Charlie died. Why? Why would you take a young girl? It's a serious thing. Do you know each other? Danny Phillip, Charlie Kirk's assistant? That's a pretty big job. He had interned for them the previous summer, but he was selected, this young guy, to fly private with Charlie to go to Salt Lake City that morning. But apparently he didn't have to assist Charlie. Charlie Kirk's assistant just went to go mark time with Blake Neff. How old is this guy? 21, 22 years old. He gets awarded a seat.
Oh, he's his assistant, but he's his assistant, but Charlie doesn't need any assistance. So just go mark time, bitch.
On a private jet to then go be ushered into an SUV to sit and do nothing.
Well, to mark time with, of all people in the world, Blake Schneff.
How about you go get Charlie some water? How about you follow him?
The ultimate Poindexter.
Around and shine his shoes. What are you doing? Who are you?
Shine his shoes.
Like I said, you're 21, 22, and you're taking like a $10,000 seat on a private plane so you can go watch Blake Neff breathe.
And mark time.
We're not being told the truth. Something's not right. Like I said, Danny was hired in May of 2025. According to his LinkedIn, he graduated from Ohio State University. That's correct. He was running the Turning Point chapter at Ohio State University, or was a part of the Turning Point chapter. And then he went straight to work for Turning Point USA. But this was not a random appointment by any means. And the fact that Blake Neff was reticent to say he was with Danny Phillip made me more interested in Danny Phillip. I went to people at Turning Point and said, who is this guy? Everyone says, I don't know. We were kind of told it was a family friend, and he got this like big job working for Charlie. Kind of quiet.
It is, Jeannie. I'm 99.9999% sure. I can go back and verify that, but that's who it is. Trust me. I know that voice. That is her. I can promise you.
So I got to doing what I do best. I said, okay, well, who is this guy who got him the job? Why do I feel like there's going to be a connection to Tyler Boyer? You see, the key to understanding who Danny Phillip is his grandfather, who I was shocked when I discovered who it was, because I knew his grandfather personally before he passed in 2021. Thank you, Andrew Colvett, for reminding me. You thought you were surprising the internet about the fight that Charlie and I had. You got to watch more of my show.
Hey, there you go. Always good to get an education. To mark time means to temporarily suspend progress or to wait idly while maintaining the status quo. Wow. Still not the way I would have phrased it. Go mark time. I think I would have said, yeah, we parked somewhere and fucked off for a few minutes. Excuse my French.
I'd ask Blake. We already discussed the argument that Charlie and I had regarding Ike Perlmutter, the check, the money. 2019, when I said I felt that people were forces were pulling me and Charlie apart. Suddenly, there's this smear campaign calling me anti-Semitic. And at virtually the exact same time,
Crazy.
Turning Point had this major donor.
Crazy.
Major donor. Was very, I thought, good to me, named Thomas Patrick. Thomas Patrick personally informed me via email.
That's right. No NPCs here.
That Charlie Kirk was lying to me about money. That is Danny Phillips' granddaddy. You know, I got to know who everybody's granddad is. And I fell apart when I realized who his grandfather was. I said, I know that man. I still have the text messages between me and Charlie regarding Thomas Patrick's email to me. And I'm going, what is happening, Charlie? Literally, what is going on? And now I learned Danny Phillips is his grandson. And I am, like I said, beside myself. I needed a second today to process this because it returns me to the theory that Charlie and I were having our strings pulled. And I'm going to tell you more. Thomas Patrick was the executive vice chairman and CEO of Merrill Lynch. That's wealth management investment firm. He worked there for 25 years in Chicago. Big guy, boss, very connected, very political, okay? Chicago, not an easy place to make it in. And he was the top of the food chain.
Whoop, whoop. Hall monitor in the house, Miss Susan.
Until 2003, he was unceremoniously escorted out of his office for a scandal in which he was accused of all things, orchestrating a political smear campaign against Elliot Spitzer, who he didn't like. Now, Merrill Lynch, for the uninitiated, I'm sure you've seen it. You're going, that sounds like Bank of America. Merrill Lynch is the wealth management and investment firm. And like I said, 25 years there is not a short tenure. He was a top guy, top boss, executive vice chairman. And he was so powerful that's stunning for me to process that he played a big role in convincing me that Charlie was moving behind my back. You will note and remember perhaps in 2008, following the financial crisis, Merrill Lynch was acquired by Bank of America. So it became Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. That's going to become relevant because Danny Phillips' father, Stephen Phillip, worked for Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in Chicago. Chicago everywhere.
So many times.
At the same time that he worked at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in Chicago, so did Tyler Boyer's father, major executive at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. And he has cleaned the internet of his LinkedIn, graduated from Arizona State University. Another coincidence is that Danny Phillip, his Merrill Lynch, Bank of America dad, also, Tyler speaks Russian, majored in Russian studies. Same for Danny Phillip, his dad.
All the Russian.
I don't know if you remember a long time ago, I was telling you that it is indeed remarkable just how many people at Turning Point USA are fluent in Russian. In fact,
but Candace is a Russian stooge now.
I remember that being one of the things that Irina Mappin, married to John Mappin, he's the one who wrote that beautiful letter about Charlie, fiercely loyal, instantly said something's not right. We need to know what happened. He's married to Irina, and Irina is fluent in speaking Russian. And she remarked to me in a private phone call that the thing that struck her as very odd about the memorial event was that everyone was speaking Russian. She was disturbed by how many Russian speakers were in VIP.
Why would a bunch of English-speaking people be walking around speaking in Russian? I can only think of one reason. Same reason when you're in a room full of Mexicans, even if they can speak English, they speak Spanish. Because they don't want you to know what they're talking about.
And that makes sense. You've got Tyler Boyer, you've got Elizabeth McCoy and her entire Ukrainian family. You've got Rob McCoy, who adopted...
Captain, so it was said that she had some of the same security detail, but she does not. She has denied that over and over and over again, and I can't remember for sure, but it seems like she did also show proof of that, but no, that they are not her security at all.
Did a girl from Russia, remember? There are just so many Eastern European never-ending ties.
In fact, there towards the end, Candace was trying to convince Charlie to change and get different security. Too bad that he didn't do that.
It's when it comes to Turning Point USA. Irina said, I've just never seen so many Russian speakers in Arizona. I bet. Anyway, I want to show you this visual guide that I put together because it's this.
Oh yeah, Miss Debbie, she was snooping around. Now she's snooping out, sniffing out the whole Russian connection, seeing where that leads and what's going on there.
Bank of America thing is super interesting to me. Okay, so you've got Tom Patrick, major Turning Point donor, Merrill Lynch top brass. Right before it merged with Bank of America. You've got Stephen Phillip. That's going to be Daniel Phillips' dad, who is the vice president also in Chicago, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Russian studies. You've got Danny Phillip, who gets this job as Charlie Kirk's assistant, just ahead of Charlie Kirk's assassination. On this one, you've got Tyler. Of course, I told you he's the guy who hired everyone. He knows everyone. And his dad, who's an exec at Bank of America. In fact, Tyler Boyer's first job was at Bank of America. And he is, you look him up from the Relic in, looks like New Jersey and Chicago.
I tell you what, that's pretty much the bulk of that. She goes in a little more detail, but that's the main thing. One more quick point, and we'll call it.
Okay, so top of show very quickly, I want to share with you guys those very interesting flutter of emails.
I thought this was really interesting.
Unexpected that we received when we asked the question before we went on air. We released more photos from inside the vehicle that Charlie was transported to the hospital in, and you can make out what looks to us to be those shards of glass from the road mic. But there was this one identifiable object that was left in the back of the car. You guys might remember it, the one that I remarked sort of looked like a burnt piece of cardboard. I didn't really know what to make of it. Why does this look like a burnt piece of cardboard with blood, but sort of thickened? Here it is a little closer here. Well, we opened that question.
Now that's funny, Miss Debbie, especially since I work for a roofing company, and as a matter of fact, we just so happen to use all Mexican crews, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
You guys, because I'm not an expert at everything. What I am good at is trusting other people to be experts at things and accumulating a bunch of information from them. And when I see a pattern in the emails emerge, I suspect that there's something there. And there certainly was a pattern that emerged. We had, oddly, people in the fashion industry reaching out, a ton of them, insisting immediately and persistently that what we were looking at was the remains of a t-shirt. Huh? I went, what? Excuse me? Okay, what are we talking about?
Very interesting.
We had a range, by the way. We had people
cool
who were stay-at-home mothers who have sewed their own kids' clothing, people in the fashion industry, and on top of that, doctors, plastic surgeons who emailed and said, you are looking at a shirt.
Ours are. Yes, very good. The ones that we, the crews that we don't go pick them up at, in front of a Home Depot or something like some of these places. They are our crews. They are permanent crews. They only work for us all the time. And do I know any of their, immigration statuses? No. So they could be legal. They could be illegal. I have no clue. That's not my department. But yes, the ones we have are very good and definitely hard workers. We can put a big roof in one day, generally rip the old one off, put the new one on, be done, cleaned up and out of there in one day generally, unless it's a really big roof.
So with that full spectrum, I thought, we got to take a look at this. They were informing me that when polyester mix or entirely polyester shirts burn, they turn into what looks like an almost hardened plastic or cardboard. And I'm going to read you just one of these comments and one of these emails so you can just, I guess, see what we were receiving. Here's a YouTube comment that came in. Really bad internet here. I tried to respond when talking about the little square.
Miss Susan, if you do end up finding you a new crib down this way, and you buy it and it, or if you're looking at it and it, the roof looks a little iffy, see, that's one good thing. You got me. You don't have to worry about it. I'll hook you up and get insurance to pay for it for you.
A thick piece. I have been making clothing for years as a mother of 10. This piece is a collar from the t-shirt. The black would more than likely be from the burning of the explosion, but the thick folded and end that's facing the camera, most surely the bias band, the seam of the t-shirt that looks clearly cut off. Again, this was echoed by people in the fashion industry. And then from our tips inbox, we got this from an actual doctor. Take a listen to this. I'm going to read this email to you. It said, please call me a plastic surgery nurse. If you use this, do not use my name, for they are evil, and I take care of too many people in my life for me to be fired or lose my life. I started to email during the question of the pulse oximeter, used one today. The silver, I believe, is the hypothermia blanket that comes in that medical pack. I think you figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is asking the right questions. What is the charred, burned thing on the ground?
Also known as space blankets.
It is his shirt. I have taken care of multiple burns as a plastic and reconstructive surgery nurse, and that is his shirt. How? Just flatten out that bunched up piece, flatten it out in your mind, flip over the right side in your mind. The top part is the bloody top of the white shirt. The back is scorched. Why? How? Because electrical current is hot and the shirt had some polyester in it. When polyester is heated, it melts. It does literally it looks literally like a lit cardboard. I had a patient that got burned by a grill and his shirt melted onto his skin, stuck to the skin. Part of it looked just like that. It only had a little polyester in it. Polyester is plastic. It took a procedure called debridement to get the charred shirt off of his skin in spots. The black is necrotic burnt skin, like burning a piece of chicken skin. I'm sorry for the visual, but it is dead skin, burned skin. They likely ripped off his shirt and ripped off his skin. So in my opinion, it is a shirt, burned polyester and charred skin. Do an experiment, find that type of shirt and lay it on an electrical eye on a stove. Think about what it would do to the skin, burn onto it. You see it all the time at blank. You can call a burn MD. Hope that helps. You are in my prayers. Please be safe, really safe. Christ is king and never give up. Go Max. So again, the repetition of these emails made me think that the experts, the people who work in these industries, might know what they're talking about. And I suddenly was looking all over my house for a polyester shirt. Couldn't find one. Best I could do was a mixed polyester shirt. Baron Coleman was here the other day, and he told me that he thinks that particular shirt that Charlie was wearing was 100% polyester, but the best I could find was a 50% poly mix.
See you, Brett. See you, bud. I'll holler at you.
Shirt this morning, and we are waiting to receive a full polyester one. We went ahead and just started burning stuff. The team went outside and we just started burning the shirts. And I'm going to show you the result that we got. I was totally surprised to see. Of course, we don't have blood on the shirt that we burned, but this is what we got.
Do those look like a shirt to you? Is that not some crazy, crazy shit? That's cray-cray. Like, that don't look like a shirt. So that nurse had to know what she's talking about to have recognized that as a shirt, because that is the first. It did look like some type of fabric, and and you looked at it a certain way, but shirt was not the first thing that come to my mind. So obviously that nurse knows something.
And I have to tell you guys, I think there is something here when you look at the other object. God. Look at this. Look at this comparison. We did this morning on the right. On the left, you are looking at that remain. And then we had people that were telling us they think that portion up top that's quite thickened might even be remnants of the road mic. I don't know about that. But that tippity top part that you're seeing is what she is referring to when she says the collar, the seam. I can see that now. We received another email where a woman is telling me that you're looking at the F of the shirt. I can't quite make that out. But I'm stunned by this. I'm stunned that we were able to replicate that. And it's not perfect. Obviously, an explosion versus us just lighting something in a fire pit is going to be different. But I am stunned by that plausibility. And we're going to keep you posted. I think there is something there. I'm actually trying to get my hands on what was left behind in Charlie's vehicle. I'm ever determined. Moving on to Turning Point USA and their affiliates, they are obviously losing their mind right now. Okay, of that there is no doubt. They are throwing every stone, making...
Okay, guys, we'll call it there. I got to go sweat a while. Speaking of shirts, so me and the wife were talking last night, and we are working on getting the stuff to start doing that. I know, Miss Debbie, that we need at least a tank top and some hats, and I'll probably do a few hoodies because, wintertime will be here before we know it. So it'll probably be to order, especially for now. There's no way I'm going to try to, stock up on any of that. So there'll probably be a bit of a slow turnaround, maybe a week to 2 week, 10 days, something like that. Not just ridiculous, but there'll probably be a little bit of a slow turnaround, at least to start out with. But keep that in mind. Y'all let me know. Just drop it in the comments or whatever. After this is over with, but y'all start letting me know who's interested in buying some shirts, t-shirts. Maybe Miss Susan can put up a community post and help me keep up with it. If you can put up a community post about what type of apparel people would want, if they want, if you don't want it, that's fine. But I'd just like to get an idea of roughly how many people would want some stuff and what type of stuff. So anyway, if you would do that, Miss Susan, that'd be great. Otherwise, I might try to do it myself sometime. But yes, we were talking about ordering the stuff. We've got a heat press, so we would just have to get the design, and so that'll be coming soon. We were talking about it. Shouldn't be too far out. I'm telling you, that logo just looks amazing on a shirt. It's just the way it goes. I feel like it needs to go on black, but now we can do other colors for sure. So, guys, thank y'all so much. Absolutely thank y'all for being here. We will, sorry guys. I mean, we were drawing a huge crowd. Last couple of days, we hadn't drawn so much of a crowd. Maybe we can start getting those numbers up like they were before. That way y'all can have a little bit more, a little more lively in the chat. I know that, I know there's a huge difference when there's, 30 to, 100. So I don't know. We'll work on that. We'll just stay consistent. And I think that we will get those numbers back up there. It might take a week or two. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. They're still out there. We just got to get YouTube working with us again. So, Anybody knows anybody that can send over, help me get that 1,000. Come on, 28, whatever it is. I really, 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 really want those. I'm going to have to take a screenshot when I get that 1,000, take a screenshot. I'll frame it. I'll put it up here on the wall behind me. Y'all help me get that 1,000. And, here in a day or two, y'all see it hanging up on the wall behind me. So anyway, guys, love y'all. I really appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Don't forget, and I will get a post up. I'm going to try to do that before the end of the day. Don't forget, Friday, it appears that it is going to be. So the show is going to start, and I will get you all a link posted just as soon as I can. But it looks like the show is going to start at 5 Eastern time, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Friday. More than likely, I won't be able to join for the first hour. I'll probably have to join for the second hour. So I should be joining at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. But that collaboration that I was talking about, panel discussion, it's going to be Don, it's going to be Steve Cameron, great folks, Steve Cameron, Greg, myself, and John Bray. So y'all don't want to miss that. That'll be good. So that's what we're doing Friday evening. Like I said, I'll get a post up about that, and I'll get y'all a link just as soon as I can. But anyway, awesome, guys. Love y'all, guys. Yeah, that's all I can think of for now. So other than pray for me, it's going to be hot out there. And I lost it right there. Man, I tell you what. All right, guys. Love y'all. I'm out. I will talk to y'all right back here real soon, as in tomorrow morning. Thanks.
When the facts get twisted and the lies stack tall, my red, white, and blue heart starts at answering the call. Question everything. Don't swallow the